Hello. That works, doesn't it? Oh god, it's really eerily quiet sometimes when I start streaming. Hello and welcome to the Sheard Bulletin. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here. And I am going to need some warming up. Not vocal warm-ups, just sort of general, just warming up to streaming. Because it's always a bit of a weird one. Did I stream last week? I think if I did it very minimally. I don't know if I did a proper one. Or maybe I did. I can't really remember. I think I did stream properly last week, actually. I think I did stream properly last week, but I was sort of it was a weirdly messy one. But anyway, welcome to the stream. Hello, everyone who is here in the chat. Welcome to Dr. Master Mark Fernkampf, Mr. Scarlo, the Underhenge. Welcome. Today is an interesting one. My energy is not quite there yet, but it'll get there, I'm sure. We're going to be talking about 73 Yards, the latest Doctor Who episode, which came out last Saturday. Welcome to Draw with Cameron Smith. Oh, that's a cool name. Oasis Central. Hayden Moffat. Oh, yeah, I did do Fortnite last week. Well, this week I'll not be doing Fortnite over on Twitch. Oh, I tell you what I forgot to do. That's good. Hey, Google. Live stream. This isn't a flex, it's just the quickest way of doing it. That's what I forgot. Brilliant. I forgot to do my lighting. Oh dear. This is a fucking mess. I knew I forgot something. I delayed it by 15 minutes to get everything done. And I thought, no, you know what? I'll start a couple minutes early. I've got everything there. And I just completely forgot. So there we go. That's brilliant, isn't it? How are you all doing? I'm doing well, thanks for asking. We are in a very exciting little time. Mid Doctor Who Season 1, very exciting. Did I get cinema tickets? So that's something that's happened. Yes, I did get cinema tickets. So there were cinema tickets released for the finale of Doctor Who this season, which is great. Love that. Airing at the same time as it is on BBC iPlayer, which is great. Midnight screening. Very exciting. I got tickets for BFI IMAX in London, which is, I think, the UK's biggest cinema screen. I have never been to BFI IMAX, so I'll be delighted to have my first experience there be for the Doctor Who finale. I hope it's a good one. Is there anyone else going to the cinema? I'd love to know. And then, which cinemas are you going to? Is anyone coming to BFI IMAX? Is anyone going to randomly bump into me and there's going to be some sort of like awkward standoff for people that I've never met, but you see me every week on the Who Bulletin? Let me know. We're going to jump straight into the hoodle, by the way. Love a hoodle. If you're not aware of what a hoodle is, ladies and gents, we do this every single week. And it basically is you get an image from a Doctor Who episode and you have to try and guess what it is. So this is my turn to do it for this week. I'm going to catch up on the last week, basically, that I've missed since the last Who Bulletin stream, and I'm already a bit stumped. I'm sort of thinking maybe... I'm thinking maybe... No, hang on. I'm thinking Unquiet Dead, because that was at Christmas. Yes, see, right? I knew they were trying to catch you out with that. That's good. Hello, Alternate 13th. Welcome to the stream. Is it all cinemas or certain locations? It is certain locations, and it's obviously only one night. Most of the UK, not all. Best to have a look. Yeah, have a look at the website. Doctor Who's not been in cinemas in America since Spyfall Part 2. The thing is, there's a lot of the times the Doctor Who episodes are in cinemas, never at the same time it airs. Now, the last time that happened in my memory would probably be Day of the Doctor, which was incredible. So I'll be very delighted to go back. I think, really embarrassingly, this is closing time. No, it's not. Okay. Okay. What is the fucking hell is that? Oh man, I don't even fucking know what that is. I thought the first one was closing time. I thought it was like one of the dressing rooms when the Cybermen attack and stuff. There's like a shot of a light, I'm pretty sure. This one has confused me. I'm honestly not really that sure. I'm tempted to say like... God, it's like a time tunnel-y sort of thing. I don't know. Doctor Widow in the Wardrobe. I'm trying to think of ones that I don't know that well. Don't think it's that though. Oh, for fuck's sake, it's Asylum of the Daleks. Oh, of course, the light. Okay, that checks. That checks. I would have known that. What is that bit from? Where is that? Oh, when they're going down to the planet. You know, I thought this was in space, but it's obviously on a planet. I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Nah, damn, that's really annoying. Okay, so this narrows it down to the era, but I have no fucking idea when this would be. That's a hard one because it's just the TARDIS console. A theory about light bulbs. I don't really remember that one. That's interesting though. Let's have a look. Oh fuck, what is this gonna be? Something stupid. Oh, I'm just gonna make a guess. I'm gonna make a stupid guess. I think this could be no, this has got to be Tennant. I think, but Tennant season 3. I'm thinking Human Nature. No, it's not. It's Waters of Mars. Okay, and I think that must be the robot grabbing the controls, which checks out. I should have clocked on that. I knew the lighting of the TARDIS was slightly different. That's a rough start, that one. Not a clue at all who that is. I do not recognise this man at all. Are you ready for live slug reaction? I'm buzzing for live slug reaction. I'm a bit worried about that episode. I don't know if it's going to be any good or not. Hoping it will be. But I'm not sure. I don't know who this man is, and I'm desperately trying to work it out. Oh shit, who is it? I really... I'm guessing like Flatline. Nope. What is that? What even is that? I genuinely can't even see that with the light in front of my face. Cassette player. Burnt out cassette player. James the TARDIS maybe? No, it's not. I think this one is Lie of the Land. Was there not a thing about cassette player? It was. Okay, I'll take that. That's pretty good. Yeah. Snowman. No? Name of the Doctor. It's definitely a Clara one, isn't it? Yeah. Something to do with Clara's history, because I remember that shot. Rerouting energy. Not a clue. I remember Boom for your birthday last season. Well, happy birthday for then. I hope I wished you happy birthday last week. If I didn't, that is bad form on my part. Rerouting energy. That's what I need to do now. Reroute my fucking energy to the stream. God damn it. Okay. Fuck is it? What? That's lost me completely. I'm thinking Into the Dalek. I'm trying to look at like the font and stuff. Oh, come on. The fuck am I supposed to know who that is? Who is that? Oh. You know what? That's shocking. That's really shocking for me. I mean, I would have had it on that one, but that, I thought the cap was very like, you know, the Australian people who are looking after fucking the master. And then the energy thing, I thought, well, this is the house, isn't it? It clicked. I have no idea. What is that on? Is that in the TARDIS? It looks like it's in the TARDIS. There's definitely Matt Smith era. I'm thinking maybe Time of Angels or something. No. Maybe not even that. Maybe it's Series 6. Day of the Moon? Oh, what the fucking hell is that? I genuinely don't know. Ooh. Okay, I should know that. Some sort of metamorphosis thing. We've already had Asylum of the Daleks, though. This is a good little game. I do like this. That's very good. That's really difficult, though. That's really tricky. I'm struggling with that. Everyone know which one this is, though? So I'm struggling. Am I being stupid, or is this like actually a hard one? That is tough. That looks like Smith's console. So I'm thinking it's Series 6. What Series 6 episodes have I not watched in a while that I might have just forgotten about? Girl Who Waited, but it's not that. Yeah, but I was right about Series 6, though. Oh, I think I know. Curse of the Black Spot. It's on the pirate ship. That's one of the dead captains of the ship that went wrong, wasn't it, or something? And then that's water, the reflection. That's quite difficult. I'd say that's quite a hard one. And we did this one last week. Can't remember it, though. Long game? Nope. Oh. Satan Pet. Beautiful. There we go. Well, there's your hoodle for the week, ladies and gents. We'll be back there next week to do some more of that lovely stuff. That was quite fun. I do like these ones because they're quite difficult to do and it's a bit of a fun thing. I did also want to talk about this as well, which I just saw on Twitter prior to starting this stream, something I am absolutely going to jump on, but I just wanted to advertise because it's a really nice fan project and I thought I'd kind of talk about it because it's some news and it's something that might be of interest to some people watching here. There's a bunch of people who have come together to put together this wonderful book, which is basically the live history of character options Doctor Who figures from 2005-ish to about 2024. In chronological order of release, you can get different versions of it, but basically it's like an Indiegogo thing. If they, you put some money in, and you either, if it's successful, then they'll do prints and stuff. But I saw this just before streaming. And I was like, I've got to mention this because this is really cool. And I'll be honest, it's exactly the kind of thing that I want. I love the history of character options and just sort of like going through that sort of nostalgic wave of figures and stuff. So this is definitely something I thought might be of interest to some people. I'll put a link in the chat if anyone's interested, but I thought I'd mention it. I did see it. It's a Doctor Who thing. It's technically news. And I checked it out and it looks pretty watertight, airtight. It's a great little thing. I'm definitely going to jump in. I don't know what I'm going to get, probably a hardback version. But it's a really cool... really, really cool little thing. I like that. It's very cool to see a lot of fan creativity going there. Anyway, let's talk about 73 yards. What did you all think of 73 yards? Tell me in the chat, and we'll kind of ask me some questions about it. Talk about what you like, what you don't like. Okay, but middle of the first series and no shooty figure. Oh, trust me, I fucking hate that. You know what annoyed me the most as well is that I was one of those people who very outwardly complained about this around the Christmas special, and I was like, oh, it's such a shame that we don't have a shooty figure or a Millie figure or the shooty Sonic Screwdriver for Christmas, because it would have been perfect for the Christmas market. It would have been great to have that coming out alongside his first episode. And there was a bunch of people going like, oh yeah, it's gonna happen in May, so stop complaining. No. It's like almost June, we're halfway through the season, and we've not got any news of the figure, which is kind of annoying. Rumour is now it's going to happen in October, but why the fuck do we care about that? October's no time at all. It's kind of annoying because I want to get my hands on a figure for Shooty and Millie, and I want to get the Sonic Screwdriver. And I'm not going to be able to for ages. And it feels a bit odd because it's sort of like, well, why aren't they prioritising this? There isn't a push for it, and I think... it seems that the BBC aren't really prioritising it at the minute. Maybe there's some stuff going on behind the scenes. Maybe there's going to be some sort of transitional handover. I really don't know. But I can only assume that is the case of what's going on. I really, really don't know. I think that might well be the case. But who knows? I'm kind of hoping that we get something soon, or just some news soon, to be honest. The best of the series so far, 9 out of 10. I do wish it was a two-parter to have more focus on the fantastical in part 1 and more development in the Ant Williams stuff in part 2. Yeah, I agree, actually. For me, I'm very torn. I really liked it, but I also think that it's not my favourite of the season. I think that... No, you're perfectly in time. We're just about to talk about the episode. I'm just getting people's opinions on it now. For me, and I've written a script for a review, but I haven't managed to film it yet or edited it yet because it's been a very busy sort of few. It's busier than I thought. I was really hoping to get a review out for every episode. I don't know if it's going to be possible, but I will absolutely try. For those of you who aren't aware, I do have reviews for Space Babies, Devil's Code, and Boom on the YouTube channel now that you can go and watch. And I was going to try and have one for 73 yards, and I might still get it there, but I just don't know if I'll have the time to sit and record it before Friday. Because if I don't get it out for the next episode, then it's kind of just pointless doing it at all, unless I've got something really interesting to say, which I don't think that I have. I've just kind of got my vague opinions. For me, I agree. It should have been longer or a two-parter. I think a lot of what I was looking forward to about this episode was lost. Either just in the pacing or just in the general, if it's been cut down or anything. I was looking forward to the sort of horror aspect, and the horror aspect turned out to be a sort of misdirection. So it wasn't like a Welsh folk horror. And then you've got the whole thing with the politics and Roger Ap Gwilliam, who you assume is going to be a big point. And when they were filming that, and I know it's not their fault because the filming wasn't supposed to leak or anything like that, but seeing all that, I was sort of like, oh man, it's a shame, because when I first saw the filming stuff for it, I was like, oh, Russell's, just done years and years. He's going to do a phenomenal job with the politics here. Like, he is absolutely well attuned to making good political commentary and satire in TV and how it's written. He's done stuff like Years and Years, he's done stuff like It's a Sin. But I feel like with this, it was just very rushed. I feel there was more depth they could have given him, and I feel like at the end it was just a guy who was just fascinated in blowing up people with nukes, and that was pretty much about it. I was sort of expecting a bit more and sort of hoping, honestly, for a little bit more. But it was over almost as quick as it began, and it sort of was very just like done and done. I would have much preferred it to be almost like a two-parter, and given or just an hour long, maybe just expand it a little bit. I really like the ending. I really like the concept. It all makes sense in my mind exactly what's going on, and it's ambiguous in the right way for me. I do like that. I do like an ambiguous ending to a film or TV program. Something that's left open, keeps you thinking. It doesn't just spoon feed you everything. As an audience member, I don't want to be trapped like an idiot. I want to sort of have something that challenges me and makes me think like, oh, this isn't right, this isn't normal, this isn't, But, and a lot of people sort of see that in different ways. Some people don't like that, some people do like that. Personally, for me, I enjoyed it and I really, really liked it, but I just wish it was longer. I wish it had more time to breathe. I know there's a novelisation coming, a Target novelisation for 73 Yards coming, which I actually might read. I'm kind of interested to see how they handle it in that, and whether there's more expansion there, whether we see more of Ruby's friends, Ruby's life. I feel like we rushed very quickly through those 60 years, in one episode. And we spent a lot of time in the first half just her being in a Welsh village and stuff and all that, which was great, don't get me wrong. I loved all the scenes. I wouldn't cut anything out. But I think I would have just made it longer so I could have had more with it. I felt like the pacing is definitely an issue there. It's not even the fact that it's 45 minutes. I think it is very much the pacing and how it's set out, because Turn Left was, 45 minutes? And Turn Left is phenomenal. It does a very similar thing. It's a world without the Doctor, and it's, having to get used to normal life and all this sort of thing. And it just does it so much better. Turn Left was such a genius idea. But I think it was lightning in a bottle, because we've seen here that I just don't think they can do it again. They tried to do certain things and it does really work and I love it, but I just feel like they tried to do too much in such a short space of time, whereas Turn Left dealt with politics, it dealt with drama, it dealt with the companion being by themselves, it dealt with Rose coming back, it dealt with time travel, it had all these concepts in it, and time for a little cliffhanger ending, whereas this was very much like felt like it was trying to squeeze too much, even though the episodes are doing effectively the same thing in the same time frame. The politics in here was a lot more crammed than it was in Turn Left, which was a lot more subtle politics. The idea of immigrants being deported or put in concentration camps like we had in Turn Left was such a serious plot point and a very clear political point to make, a sense of like, this is what we as a society would come to, if this was the dire situation we were in. And it's a horrible way of thinking about it, but it sort of raises questions, it makes you think, and I think that's important. Whereas I don't think politically 73 Yards did give me anything to think about. I think it just made me think, well, this is the world we live in anyway. This is people like this anyway who are just threatening to throw nukes at each other and probably will. And that's just the world we live in now. Whereas, like, I feel like I don't believe that in 40 years' time it would be such a a big scary thing, because it happens all the time. Not that it happens all the time to this scale, but it's sort of the idea of the politics behind it doesn't require any deeper thought. It's very surface level. It's like, man likes to throw nukes at people. There was a bit of implication with the young assistant who called him a monster and sort of celebrated his downfall. That something went on between them, and I do wonder if there was a deeper, more adult theme in there that would have made that stronger, that would have made him a stronger villain, as opposed to what it ended up being. And I wonder if that would have made it more serious and would have given it a little bit more depth. But I think they just kind of shied away from it too much. That we just kind of assumed that she found out about the nukes and thought he was a monster, which is fine. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's like, it very much just brought in like a domestic abuse character to sort of go, oh, that just makes him a bad person. But it doesn't give any of the depth and like time that something as serious as that actually needs to develop. I think if you're going to do something like suggest that, you need to sort of dedicate a good amount of the story to it. You can't just have it in as like one line, or even that, just kind of at the implication. I think to create like deeper levels of character and drama and commentary on politics in the future, you can do that without having to be so upfront about it. And I think that's what Turn Left did so brilliantly. It's crazy. I don't know. Yeah, so for me, it's like 73 yards is great. Would I say it's 9 out of 10? Probably not, because I give Turn Left that. Or Turn Left is probably a 10 out of 10. It's an excellent, excellent episode. But this is trying to do a similar thing, and it's written by the same person with a lot more resources available now and a budget like Disney. Yeah, the scale didn't feel quite the same. And I know it's trying to do something different. You can't just recreate the same thing. But like, yeah, exactly. Yeah, Lucy Saxon in Last of the Time Lords was a perfect sort of example of showing it. Like, she was, there's clearly stuff going on there, but you see that develop over 2 episodes, and you sort of take that as her like character piece. And then when she does kill Saxon, that's kind of, you understand why that is, and there's a lot of weight there. Whereas with this, it was like, I think all the ideas and the things were in the right place. The problem is I feel like Russell was trying to cram too much into such a short space of time that none of it had time to breathe and really be taken in by anyone who's watching. And I think that's the difficulty you have. I think if it had more time to breathe, or if it was sort of, the pacing was stronger, then we would have a little bit more of a, yeah, just something more to sort of chew on as an audience. I think I think it's a great episode. Do I think it's as good as Boom? No, because I think Boom was a more rounded drama. It's not my favourite episode of all time, but super interesting and super well laid. The Doctor was great in that. Ruby was great in that. The supporting cast was great in that. The twists and turns all made sense. It was paced very nicely, despite being in real time. And this is sort of feels like it. I think going into this, I was hoping it would be my new favourite, and it wasn't, and that's why I'm disappointed. But yeah, I don't think that's the problem with an 8-episode first season. I think there's levels to it, right? Because I think you look at it, it's like, you can do an 8-episode season. Flux did like a 6-episode season, really, and that was still about 45 to 50 minutes, right? And it managed to do that. It wasn't great, in my opinion. It's not my favourite. It's not even my favourite Whittaker series, but it's solid, and it works, and it has a vision, and it executes it. Whereas this, I feel like it is executing it to a degree, and I think I'm getting it, but I'll be very interested to rewatch this whole season when it's done and see how the character arcs work, how the individual stories like sort of pair up to other ones. There's a lot to sort of discover there, and there's a lot to sort of go into detail with. For me, I'd be definitely interested to have a crack at that. Just during the stream, what has been the biggest strength of this season so far? For me, I think it's the cast. I think Shruti and Millie absolutely sell it. I think if we had a weaker Doctor and Companion, I think it wouldn't be the best series. I think we'd be quite struggling, I think. And I do think, as it stands, and this isn't an insult, but just an observation from my point, I think what's disappointing me at the minute is, as it stands, this is Russell's weakest season of the show that he's done. And that's not an insult. Russell has had some phenomenal work. I mean, like, Series 1 is excellent. Series 2 is excellent, to some extent, bar a few episodes. Series 3 is just phenomenal, especially the way it ends and wraps up, and Martha and all that sort of thing. Series 4 is just an all-time classic, and the specials are the specials, right? But what this feels like is the weakest of that bunch, which is a shame. But maybe that's nostalgia. Maybe that's just it's not for me. Maybe, I don't know. But I think I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I think the episodes are excellent in themselves. And it's probably the most I've enjoyed Doctor Who in a few years. I've loved some Jodie Whittaker episodes, I really have, but I think consistently this is really good. The problem I'm having with it is just something about it feels off, and maybe that's because we're not at the end of the series yet, but I'm hoping that by the time we get there, we'll have something to wrap up. I was always an advocate for not wanting to see a returning villain. I kind of want to see a returning villain. I genuinely kind of think that I want to see that now. I have to sort of mention and think back to like some of the Jodie Whittaker episodes, and I do think that when we were in series 11, we were getting maybe not as well. I don't think the companions were anywhere near as well written as Ruby's been written in Jodie's era, and I don't think Jodie was written as strongly as Ncuti has, having those moments. But I think the individual episodes and story concepts of like series 11, for example, was for me a lot more original than what we're getting here, and I think that's the difficulty I'm having with it. Space Babies is good, but I didn't like the concept that much of the babies and the talking whatever. The Devil's Corp was great, but had some cringe moments. It was a great concept, but it was doing the Toymaker thing again only 3 episodes later, so it's maybe a bit too soon for that. Then we've got Boom, which is great again, but again quite small scale. 73 Yards is completely batshit. Next week is going to be a bit of a social commentary one, and hopefully a good one, but when I look back to like series 11, I think of like standout stuff, even though the episodes aren't very good. But I think that series 11 had stuff like The Witchfinders, which I really loved that as an episode. It had a lot of great themes in it. It had a great cast, supporting cast. The setting was great. It looked incredible. Demons of the Punjab was excellent as well. In terms of like themes and depth of character, it was super, super interesting. And you have to compare it. And I think this is good stuff that we're getting here. By no means do I think it's bad, but I'm yet to sort of have something which is really making me go, oh, we're like back to where I was at when I was like a kid watching Doctor Who and loved it. Maybe that's the thing about nostalgia. Maybe that's a bigger comment to make about nostalgia and about like where my generation sort of stand. I grew up with New Who. I knew New Who when I was getting into it, and that's how I've loved it every single year, and it's become like a ritual of me. But it's been like that since I was 5 years old, and you get older and things don't weigh up the same because you're not a kid and you're not as blown away by stuff. If this was coming out when I was a kid, I'd probably absolutely love it. I'd love it to bits. I really, really would. But I am struggling at the minute because I think for the last few years, and I think this has just been a general thing since sort of mid-Capaldi era, I've kind of just been losing a bit of interest. Some stuff piques my interest up, but it's the stuff that's like nostalgic. So as much as I love Series 11, as much as I'm really enjoying this season, part of me is sort of thinking, yeah, I would like to see a Dalek. I know that I said I don't, but now I'm kind of, oh yeah, Kate Stewart did mention a Sontaran. Fine. That annoyed me though, because why did Ruby laugh at that? Ruby doesn't know what Sontarans are. She wouldn't get that reference. I think we'll get a returning monster in the finale. Definitely, because nothing has been announced about it. We've got Susan Twist coming back. We've had a mention of Susan Foreman. I'm really, really hoping they're going to drive hard something big with the finale. They kind of have to. You know, when you think of every Russell T Davies era finale, not a single finale went by without a returning character. Series 1 was the Daleks. Series 2 was the Daleks and the Cybermen. Series 3 was the Master. Series 4 was Daleks again. Not saying I want it to be Daleks, but I'm saying I'd really be interested to see what new thing we get here. Like, what if we get like a returning monster? What would Russell go for? What are we gonna get? You know, what's gonna be new? Sutekh would be really cool. Another Time Lord like the Meddling Monk would be interesting. But I think we sort of need, I don't know, we need something campy Doctor Who, right? That's kind of what I want. I feel like we've had the Toymaker and like Maestro. I feel like we don't need another Time Lord or another Master or something like that. I don't know. Maybe we could, I don't know, but I don't really want to see the Master again. Meddling Monk, I wouldn't mind. But what I really kind of want is just kind of something akin to like the Daleks or the Cybermen or the Weeping Angels, the Vastgenerada, the Jadoon, the Slovene, I don't care. Something daft that could work really well with a good story. I'd love to see it, I really would, and I'm hoping that either we get it at the finale or we get it at Christmas, because I think it would be a shame to wait till season 2 to get anything familiar. I know we've got Kate Stewart, but like, and I don't get me wrong, I love Kate Stewart, but I think that it's like, yeah, she's part of the status quo, like of Earth in the Doctor Who universe. So I'm kind of excited to see more. I don't know, I think something does feel off, and I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it's just as you get older, you sort of have different opinions on things, and you sort of change your sort of appeal for it. And the show is different; it changes all the time. So I can't knock that. But I would love to see some sort of returning monster, maybe from the classic series or otherwise. The interesting thing is as well that I've heard no one mention is that we apparently are getting a spin-off. You know, we got the reference of the war between land and sea in the previous episode, and if that's coming to fruition, then we should be getting some sort of news on a spin-off after season 1, and what better time than if we have a finale with a returning villain or returning species or something like that we can jump off the back of. Maybe it's not even about the Sea Devils or the Silurians, maybe it's something completely different, I don't know, but it would be interesting to get something in that ballpark, because I feel like I want new and interesting stories, and we're getting loads of them, and that's great, and I feel like the writing's been great, the Doctor and Companion are great. I am desperate now to see Ncuti against something familiar, because we've had we've had goblins, which I don't think were a great villain. I mean, they barely talked. We've got the snot monster, which wasn't really anything, didn't talk. Maestro, which talked too much, and like Maestro was great, but again, it's just the toy maker again, really. And then what have we had? A landmine, and a woman who stands really far away. And next week we've got giant slugs, which are cool. Again, that's the one I'm hoping for, something like iconic and new, because I feel like an iconic monster is going to be... No, Maestro is good, don't get me wrong, but it is effectively the toy maker again. That's something I've come to realise in the weeks after it. I loved it at the time, and I still do love it. I think it's a great episode. But my issue with it is it's like, when you do a rewatch of the show in order, right? If you do that, you're going to watch the specials. You're going to watch the Giggle, right? So let's start with the Giggle. Then you're going to watch the Christmas special, so Church on Ruby Road, then Space Babies, and then The Devil's Cord. So 3 episodes on from the Giggle, you're going to have a very similar character with a very similar kind of story. Not exactly the same, right? But it is kind of. So the character gets introduced in a certain time zone. We get a flashback sequence to 1925 when they meet some random historical person and kill them or torture them or something like that. Then we cut to the modern day or some period in time where the Doctor and Companion are knocking around. They notice the effects of Maestro or the toy maker. They then go back in time or forward in time and then bump into them, and then go back to that previous time to have a big final battle with them. Meanwhile, Maestro changes costumes, the toy maker changes costumes, and they get sealed away and banished at the end. It's the same kind of story beat as the Giggle, just without the grand scale of it being the toy maker. And I think 3 episodes on, we didn't need that. I think we could have moved that later on. Oh, no, don't get me wrong. Jinx Monsoon was great, and Maestro was great, and that whole story was excellent, and I loved it. And I don't think it's, like, on the same... I don't think it's as good as the Giggle, because the Giggle just has like massive high stakes that I just love, and the regeneration. I'm always a fan of regeneration stuff just because it's thematically interesting. But I have to say that, yeah, it's just the difficulty of having that so close. If Devil's Cord was season 2, I would sort of get that, and I'd be like, all right, fair. But I don't really understand it, and I think it's as much as I love it, it's like. If I was rewriting the series, I probably would have put that a bit later. Anyway, I'm going to continue to answer your questions, by the way, but I'm going to be playing 13 in the background. This is something we do pretty much every stream, because it's just like a fun little game, Doctor Who related, and it's kind of addictive, and it's kind of fun to watch, and yeah. And before I do that, because there's quite a few of you watching, I'm going to do the standard, going to promote the podcast. Ha ha ha, George does whatever, I don't care. We are promoting it because it's another show that I do here over on Spotify and on YouTube as well. It's also on Apple, Amazon, Google, etc. But we have a podcast called Nostalgia Bit. Got brand new episodes every single Thursday. We did a big fat Doctor Who one, and then last week we talked about our top 5 movies of all time, ranking a little top 5 list. And this week we've got a really exciting one, and I know I say that every week, but this one genuinely is. At the end of every podcast episode, we actually have this little segment called Just News. We talk about the late, like some funny news story. We take the piss out of it. We have a lot of fun with it, and then we sort of just chat about it, and it's a lot of fun. But the cool thing about this week is we've actually got a compilation of all of the best bits from Just News. So it is kind of reusing all those old things, but what it means is it's all the funny sort of big moments from our podcast over the last 15 episodes compiled into like an hour for you. And it's video, so it's going to be even more exciting, and I really want to sort of test that. So please do check it out. If you're not already following, give us a follow over on Spotify. If you haven't already given us a rating, give us a rating, preferably a 5-star rating would be lovely. And yeah, stay tuned. Check out some previous episodes. We've got some great stuff here. There are some really good episodes in here. I think the video games one's a good one. The Star Wars one's always a good one. Top 5 video games of all time's a good one. The Doctor Who videos. All the Star Warsy, Marvel, DC stuff is really good. Doctor Who, obviously, you're going to love that one. And obviously the movies. But we've got, a really exciting episode this week. I'm going to put a link to it in the chat now. So I'd love it if you have got Spotify, go and check it out. If you haven't got Spotify, do let me know, and I'll tell you where else to find it. But it is available in other places, but Spotify is our sort of main one. So new episodes every single Thursday. You can check that out in a couple of days' time. In the morning, around 10 o'clock-ish, there'll be a brand new episode for you, and it will be the best of Just News Volume 1. It's a very exciting episode, very different, but one that I guarantee you will laugh at least once watching it. And if that's not worth listening to something for, then I don't know what is. New podcast episode was very good. I watched Little Shop of Horrors because of it. Well, that's really nice to know. I'm glad you watched that, because I fucking love that film. It's one I grew up watching as a kid. It's not like the best film of all time, but the way they made it is absolutely fascinating, and I think is probably one of the biggest selling points of that film. Is just like what an incredible piece of like craftsmanship in film. Are you looking forward to Dot and Bubble from what we get in the next time trailer? Yes and no. I did say this on Twitter, but I'm really starting to feel the effects of Shooty filming Sex Education now. Because that'll be 2 episodes in a row where Shooty hasn't actually been really doing much in person. Now, I know he probably has a little scene here and there, same as 73 Yards, but I sort of want to see Shooty actually doing more Doctor Who stuff, especially when we only get 8 episodes in the series with him. I'm sort of desperate for more of that sort of hands-on doctoring that we're used to. At the minute, it's not looking like we're getting a lot of that. And we'll get that for the finale. We'll get that for Rogue, definitely, which is exciting. But I've just found that it's like I'm looking at it and I'm going, oh God, we're not going to... It's just like, it's sort of a bit annoying, really, because there's 2 episodes in a row there where, even though I love 73 Yards, and I love what, like, the Millie had a sort of companion Dr. Light story. I love Dr. Light stories, and we haven't had one in a few years. But I've been so excited to see Shooty as the Doctor. It's having 2 episodes in a row where he's prominent, but not really doing stuff in front of the camera. Like with Dot and Bubble, it's very much like he's going to be on a screen the whole episode by the looks of it. So that's fine. I hope it's not that, basically. Top 5 Doctor Who episodes of all time, I have no idea, but that's definitely something for a podcast, 100%. I have no idea where to start with that. I have my personal favourites, but... Yes, I know there is a Doctor moment at the end of Dot and Bubble, which I am excited for, don't get me wrong, but I'm sort of just a little bit doubtful that it's going to be a very long moment and they're going to take up a lot of the episode. I think it's going to be very much like a final scene thing, which is good, don't get me wrong, I'm excited for that, and all the sort of initial talk about this episode has been about that scene at the end, so I'm excited for that. Hoping it'll not be another Orphan 55 kind of preachy thing. Not that that's a bad thing, and that's not me being a sort of like typical fucking sort of the anti-woke mob. I don't see any problem with social commentary at all in Doctor Who. I think it's absolutely got a place in the show, and I think it should forever. But I think that ending of that episode in particular, Orphan 55, was a little bit too on the nose, where it was like, okay, I get what you're saying. I get it. Like, I get it, but stop. Okay, I get what you're saying. You don't have to keep telling me. It's like, yes, this is set on Earth. That is enough of a twist to go, oh, right, okay, it's set on Earth, and this is what's going to happen to Earth. Oh, but you can still stop it, audience, with a TV license. You can stop it by saving the planet and all this sort of stuff. I don't like that sort of shit, and I'm hoping that, because this one's going to be very social commentary heavy, hoping it's not going to be all about that. I think it's enough social commentary anyway to just go, people are dying because they won't look away from their social media. They will refuse to actually live in the real world, and they will just see things that anyone will be able to see if they just open their eyes and had a look outside. That everyone will be able to see it, but they don't. So, great, you know. What do you think the classic structure of? Do you think the classic structure of seasons with multiple serials could work today? Absolutely, it could. I think it would keep people engaged for longer. I think the problem I have with it personally is I don't know. I like the idea of it long term because that's what most series are now. They'll have a series with one arc, and that will be the whole story. Do you know what I mean? Like Flux, for example. If Flux was a little bit less hectic, that'd be a really great, interesting story. And even though I don't like Flux that much, I really admire them for giving it a good go, because it was so unique. You don't get that with Doctor Who nowadays. They tried something new, they tried something different. In the middle of COVID, they really, really had a crack at doing something new and exciting and different, and I actually fully respect them for that. So good on them, and the production team that worked on it. They were dealt some really bad hands in that production, and I do feel bad for them. The big one was the Russell T Davies announcement. I don't know if you're aware of this whole thing, but that was a whole thing that happened, and that's just shocking, in my opinion, but, you know. I haven't read the Reddit leak, so please don't reference that in the chat. What do you want the spin-off to be? I want the spin-off to be sort of anthology based, maybe a little bit like Doctor Who as a main thing, but about different monsters and the different things happening on Earth. I want it to tie into season 2. I want it to be relevant. I don't want it to be just a completely side series. I don't want it to be Class, basically. I don't want it to be Class. I liked Class, but I also didn't like Class, if you get what I'm saying. I like Class, but I didn't like that it wasn't at all connected to the show. Like, anything could have happened in Class and it wouldn't have had any bearing on what happens in series 10, right? Which is fair enough. It probably shouldn't, but it annoyed me because I'm feeling like, oh, well, why am I investing my time into it if it's not relevant to the show that I actually care about? This is a spin-off to it, so it should have some bearing on the plot of the main show. In theory. I mean, you'd think, wouldn't you? But you just don't know, do you? So I would hope that there's something interesting about the show that is just, in its own merit, good, but connects it to the main show in a way that we don't yet know. We don't know anything about it. We don't even know how likely it is to happen. We don't know whether they've started filming it, anything like that. So we have absolutely no idea. My personal theory is that they're about to start filming it, and it maybe will come out before season 2 or just after season 2. I'm not sure. It's really hard to tell at this point what the situation is, but I'm hoping it'll be something like that where it's, because it'd be nice to have something in between season 1 and 2, but I don't see it happening. Okay. Fuck. That's annoying. Right, I'm going to do one more of them. Fuck. Only shot 3 episodes in Christmas. No, I think he definitely shot more, because he definitely did. He did obviously the finale as well, so he's definitely like shot all the episodes. And Dot and Bubble he's definitely going to be a more prominent part of. It's not Dr. Light, but it's sort of Dr. Light in the way that David Tennant was in Blink, for example. He was in Blink. He was a big part of the story in Blink, but he wasn't actually that much in Blink in terms of the grand scheme of things. So yeah. But also I understand because he was filming Sex Education. So I know in season 2, this isn't like the norm. This is just for filmmaking purposes. They had to do it that way. And we know which episodes were shot first. We know that Dot and Bubble was one of the first ones in production because it was filming around the same time as the Roger Williams stuff. It was filming around the same time as that. I remember because people thought the politics story was going to be about the giant slugs, but it's not. People forget about that, but that was true because they were filming it at the same time. You might not remember that, but there was definitely a thing at the time where it was like when they were filming with the giant slugs. That was when they were filming the politics stuff. So, but no. So I think it must be the same time as before Shooty was actually on set playing the Doctor. Oh, my interesting thing is I'm trying to work out. I can't really exactly remember when. It was probably mentioned in Doctor Who Unleashed, but I just can't for the life of me remember when he filmed The Giggle. That's the most interesting thing to me. Because I'm sort of, when would that have been? Was that before he did any stuff for season 1, or is that after, or what? This is probably one of the worst games I've had of this, to be honest. I can't lie. This is appalling. Oh wow, that's actually worked out very well. That's why you would cast a new Doctor in a big comeback for the show to relaunch it and cast someone as the main character who doesn't have time in his schedule. Well, because he's excellent is why. Because he's very good. And that's the thing is, they cast him as he was wrapping up filming on another show he was contracted to do, but was absolutely dedicated to playing the role of the Doctor. You never know, they might have signed him on for a few years for that exact reason. Hopefully they have, because I would love to see this Doctor last longer than the 3 series boundary, even though especially now that series of Doctor Who are getting less and less. You know, it's something I'm kind of hoping we're going to see more of is I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm absolutely just waffling bare shit today. Oh, I fucked it. Oh, that's so annoying. Yeah, I think especially because we're getting less episodes of series, it would be nice that Shitty would stay longer, but you just don't know. If he only stays 3 series, then he's still he's served the least amount of episodes of New Who Doctors, which is great, other than obviously Eccleston. But other, like David Tennant does 3 series, but he did 3 series of 13 episodes each, as did Matt Smith, plus a few specials. Judy Whittaker did 3 series, but one of them was 6 episodes long. I don't even know if she's scratched 30 episodes. I genuinely don't even know if she did or not. Which is crazy if not. Fucking hell, this is a pain in the arse, this one. Done. Fucking terrible. Right, I'm going to try that one more time. Millie was brilliant in 73 yards. She's their best episode. Yeah, absolutely brilliant. Millie's announced to be in season 2. So glad that Russell finally managed to make a season where both the companion and the Doctor survive the next season. It's probably because there's not as many episodes. They need more time together to create that emotional impact of a departure. If Shruti regenerated at the end of this season, it wouldn't hit the same as Eccleston's did. You just feel like he's just not been the Doctor, really. And then same with Millie, you couldn't do that and create the same emotional depth. She would have to be a part of the next series, and I think she's going to play a big part in the next series. They've been filming the finale at the minute, and it's there's some interesting stuff going on. It looks like the Doctor is purposefully ignoring Ruby and being like, "Don't talk to her," or something like that. So that's interesting. I wonder where that's going to play into things. Spoiler alert, by the way. Don't think it's a big spoiler because it's been fucking all over these bloody filming accounts, which I'm sick of seeing. But oh well. Just interesting, I suppose, because you sort of go, well, Ruby is a big part of the next series, absolutely a big part of the next series storyline. So I don't think there's anything to worry about from that perspective. I'm just interested as to who Varada Sethu is going to be playing, because she's a very, very good actress, and I'm very excited to see what she brings to her role, whatever it may be, in the next series. And I'm excited to see what her role is. Is she a companion? Just a traditional companion? Or is she something else? I don't know. But it's interesting. I'll say that much. How do you reckon? How do you even reckon Disney and is how reckon is RCT and Disney going to be? Or should he last as long as Russell, like Jodie did with Chibnall? I don't know. I think it's up in the air, isn't it? I think Russell wouldn't have signed on to Doctor Who if he wasn't planning on doing it for a few years. He's clearly writing a few years ahead anyway. So we'll really have to see. I think Russell wants to be a brand ambassador for it, and I think it's going to be a long time before Russell gives up the mantle, especially looking at it now. It just doesn't seem likely that Russell's going anytime soon. Not that I'd want that to be the case. I think he's a great showrunner, and I think even though currently it's weaker than his other work at Doctor Who, or just generally, I still think it's an exciting time, and it's still different, and it's still new, and it's still refreshing, and he's managed to pull a lot of strings to get these sort of deals off the ground, which I love. So that prospect of that excites me, honestly. What Russell's done for the show so far has been incredible. Fucking hell, I'm terrible at this today. I mean, I get a good attempt in, otherwise it's pointless. A female showrunner, if they do. Yeah, there's some phenomenal talent out there, and they absolutely should. There was a rumour of a female showrunner taking over after Chibnall. Rumour, though. Obviously just complete bullshit made up by people online. But I think there needs to be a difference between showrunner and brand ambassador. And I think Russell needs to be a brand ambassador and sort of oversee the show and the production of it, but not be writing every episode, not even half. I wouldn't even call him like the main writer of the show. In an ideal world, for me, I'd probably have it where it is a mix of Russell and Stephen Moffat running the show. But Russell is more of a brand ambassador kind of angle where he is looking after the brand side of things. So he's overseeing all the spin-offs, all the production of any extra stuff. I think that would be great because he's a fan and he's also a very high-end professional in TV. And I think he's got a lot to say about certain things, and I do respect that about him. I do think there's a level where he can become a little bit self-indulgent with some of his stuff, and I wonder where that's going to go. I really wonder how we'll look back on this era when it's done, when Russell does give up the mantle of Doctor Who again. I wonder how we'll look back at this. I wonder how we'll see this era. Will we see it with positive eyes or negative eyes? What are we going to say when we talk about Russell T Davies 2, or whatever you want to call it? You didn't think about that? Because I feel like I think about that all the time. I'm like, what are we going to actually be talking about? Like how we talk about Chibnall now, like how, in retrospect, are we going to actually be talking about this showrunner? Are we going to be talking about him as a good thing for the show or a bad thing for the show? I don't know. It's really just impossible to tell sometimes. I've done it again. Fuck's sake. I'm going to give it a proper one more attempt, and that means going to actually have to be it. Before we head over to Twitch, I'm very tired today, but we are going to be playing. We're going to be a very chill stream on Twitch. If you're not familiar with what we do on Twitch, I'll just show you quickly. Every Tuesday, more or less, whenever I'm up to it, we'll stream here on YouTube, and then we'll go over to twitch.tv/georgesheard, and we'll be playing a video game. Recently, we've been playing Fortnite, but today we're going to be playing actually Lego Star Wars because I'm playing it in my own time. I thought we'd just have a chill stream, so feel free to pop in. Ask any questions you want about Doctor Who. It's going to be a very, very relaxed stream. It's not going to be super focused on the game. I'm just basically trying to 100% it. Been doing it in my own time anyway, so I thought it would be a good excuse to sort of just pop on and do that before we start a proper game. I do have some ideas of the actual next game I want to play, but I wanted to wait a little bit, do a bit of casual gaming, bit of Fortnite, bit of online play, and then today we're going to have just a chill stream playing like a classic that I love. I have played it on stream before actually to completion, so it shouldn't be anything too new, but it's a good laugh. If you're a fan of Star Wars, if you're a fan of those retro style Lego games, then it'll definitely be a stream for you. So please do come and check that out whenever we finish here, and feel free to keep asking more of your Doctor Who questions because I am happy to keep answering. And that will be fun. Do you think it's going to be a throwback to the third Doctor? It is in the TARDIS. Oh, I really, really hope we get Sean Pertwee. I know it's been rumoured, and don't believe everything you hear online. That those cinemas have only got that cast list from IMDb, which can be edited by fucking anybody, and can't be verified until the episode's actually out. I remember way back when, going back to Series 11, that someone had updated the Wikipedia page for Doctor Who Series 11 for the finale included the Toymaker and the Yetis. These things never came to be, so just ignore them until it happens. But the prospect of Sean Pertwee being in it is a really exciting one. Not that would be the case, but I'd love to see some sort of flashback. I think there is a flashback sequence. I'm sure that's been mentioned somewhere, that we're going to get some sort of nostalgic flashback that they were considering at one point cutting from the episode entirely, but kept it. I'd love to see Sean Pertwee just play his dad one time, just to see him as the third Doctor would just be incredible, wouldn't it? I don't like the idea of recasting, right? But I prefer that to sort of CGI body doubles. And I think when Doctor Who's been around long enough, you're allowed to do multi-Doctor specials with old Doctors. And I want to see that. It doesn't have to be like an anniversary ritual. We're in a different era of TV where that sort of stuff can just happen. And I love that. We should be able to see more of that. I don't want to see David Tennant popping up every series. That's not what I'm saying. But like, let's say if this Christmas special this year had Matt Smith in it and it was a multi-Doctor story, I would eat that up. I would love that idea. I really, really do. It's not always the smartest move to do, but if you time it and you do it sort of sparingly enough, it's like the sort of Twice Upon a Time effect. Like Twice Upon a Time, Capaldi's last story did not need to have the first Doctor in it. There's no anniversary for it, but it was a great idea, and I have to say I really like it. I think that's a good thing. I think that's good to have. I like that sort of shit. I really do. But yeah, you never know though. I do love the idea of it. Who would you all recast as different Doctors? We've also got David Bradley as the first Doctor, which is pretty much set in stone now as like an official recasting. I think when David Bradley passes on, we just can't do the first Doctor again. I feel like we've had too many recasts of that man now, where it's becoming disgraceful. Which is fine, but also it's like, we can recast another Doctor. Why have we never done a recast of like Patrick Troughton? That would be incredible. He's a great, great Doctor, and I would just love to see that. You know, his kids are both actors. They've both been in the show before. Why have we never done anything with that? I'll never know. But I love it. And I hope one day we do see more recasts of stuff. I'd love to see, you know, as morbid as it may be, I'd love to see a recast of Roger Delgado's Master. No, we don't need to see that incarnation, but why can't we see that incarnation? I love the fact that when Sim's Master came back, it's one of the first times a previous Master who was already gone came back to the show. I'm still talking about Doctor Who, so I'm going to keep doing this until 1:15. We started late. I am enjoying this. Yeah, and Shooty keeps talking about John Pertwee in interviews, and I feel like that's something, yeah. Two of Patrick Troughton's sons were in the show. One of them was in Midnight, and one of them was in Last Christmas, I believe. You can have a look into it. Yeah, Big Finish, but then also I don't fucking don't get me into Big Finish rants because I will just go on for hours. But I don't really particularly listen to Big Finish, so I would kind of like to see. I'd like to see it in the show because I think we have the scale in terms of brand affinity to do that now, to bring back old characters and old actors and stuff. It's just like, how cool would that be to see writing for old and new? And I know we've had that in recent years, and I know we had that as well with the Centenary special. I don't doubt for a second that like there's a bit of hesitation to do that. We don't need multi-Doctor specials all the time, but like, how cool would it be for just a normal story to have an old Doctor in it, to be a sequel or play alongside an existing popular story? Like, I don't know. It's like a random example, but like, what if there was a story that was sort of setting up for something more, and it never came to be in the classic era? Why couldn't we do something with that now? Why couldn't we have some fun with that? You know, why not? What's to stop us? You know, why couldn't we do something enjoyable and different with that? Why couldn't we bring back an old Doctor, but I don't want to do it where we get to the point where we just end up using CGI. I think recasting is the way to go, and I think David Bradley was a great pick for the first Doctor, and it was really cool to see him in New Who. You want to make New Who, or like modern era Who, like the definitive Who, don't you, really, for new audiences, because people aren't going to, only really die-hard fans are going to go back and watch stuff from old eras. So if you want to introduce these other Doctors, you sort of need to put them in the show in a way that makes good contextual sense. And I think there's ways and means. I think there's absolutely ways and means of doing that. Absolutely. Sean Bean is Chris Eccleston. Oh, I mean, I've seen this before. I always thought this. Joaquin Phoenix would be a brilliant Troughton lookalike, but Joaquin Phoenix is a very big actor, very big and well-known actor, who would never do Doctor Who. He would be far too expensive and far too stubborn. You'd want someone who's like a British household name, or someone relatively unknown, I'd say, who can come to it and do it and become them, and then if they want to appear in the show again, they can. Like David Bradley, right, was cast as William Hartnell for that biopic, and a great biopic it was. And then we have him as the first Doctor in Twice Upon a Time, and then we have him as the first Doctor again in Power of the Doctor, which is great, because it's great to see him, because it's like, oh my god, they're actually sticking with this as a casting decision, and it works, and it's brilliant, and I'm so glad. How amazing, like, how brilliant is that? It's just fucking phenomenal. I'm so happy they did that. I think it's one of the best sort of decisions in recent years for Doctor Who in terms of doing that. Rhys Shearsmith was obviously in the biopic. I don't think Rhys Shearsmith should play the second Doctor, because he's not. I just don't think he's right for it. I don't think he's got the face for it. Patrick Troughton has a very distinct look, as does Jon Pertwee. I think you need someone who looks like them. You can't just cast some young actor with similar features. You need a real lookalike to do Patrick Troughton. And I think they should. I think, honestly, if I was doing the show, one thing I would want to do is do that. One of those ideas that I've seen recently, which I absolutely love, which has been talked about a few times by, I think, actually previous Doctors almost. Oh, for fuck's sake. Is the... I don't think you could ever recast the fourth Doctor. No one can play Tom Baker quite like Tom Baker did. But also, Tom Baker's had a lot of his own era. I think you'd want to do like a Colin Baker or something like that, where you bring his Doctor back for a story. I don't know how that would work, because he looks so different now to how he did when he played the Doctor. You sort of have to do it where it's sort of one of the actors who's passed on, and do them as do them as the Doctor. But yeah, we are going to head over to Twitch now, where I'm going to play a bit of Lego Star Wars. I'm absolutely going to be talking more Doctor Who, so please do head on over twitch.tv/gbsheard. I'll put a link here in the chat. You head over there, and you can interact with the stream quite a lot, and you can ask as many Doctor Who questions as you want. I am actually really interested with this recasting chat, so let's keep that chat going over on Twitch, because I'm very much into that, and I'm very much into thinking about like who would be cast in certain roles and stuff, and what I would do as my perfect sort of Doctor Who story. I'd love to do something like that. You know, maybe I'll start writing some Doctor Who stuff again. I don't know. I am actually. Well, no, I probably shouldn't say that. No, I am. Okay. Oh, never mind. Ignore I said anything. We'll be going over to Twitch pretty much immediately as soon as the stream ends. So when it ends here, you can pop over to twitch.tv/gbsheard, link in the chat. And yes, I'll see you all very shortly as we play Lego Star Wars and talk more about Doctor Who. So join us over there. Thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we'll see you all next Tuesday. Bye-bye.